I attempted the chat's favorite Pokemon challenge. My name's Joey, and this is today's challenge. My community on Twitch challenged me this time to use their favorites up to Generation 3 in Pokemon Emerald. The standard rules are above. The Bloodline has chosen their favorite Pokemon, which can only be up to Generation 3. I opened a Google Docs form where they can submit one Pokemon. Some even went to the extent of having a Stage 1 or a Stage 2 Pokemon holding an Everstone, which obviously means I can't evolve it to use in the run. Bastards. So with my favorite generation of Pokemon, along with my not so favorite community members on Twitch, we embark on our chat's favorite Pokemon journey. One of my community members actually set this game up so I could have more of a genuine reaction live to see what they picked, and added a few other surprises in, so big thank you to Nick Sorority for doing so. So we hop out of the truck and we set our clock automatically to 10 AM. We then meet our rival and scurry out of his house to head north to see that Professor Birch is being chased by a Zigzagoon. So he tells us to check his bag for some Pokemon, and to my surprise, the starters have been changed to a Bulbasaur, Torchic, and Totodile. I was instructed to choose whatever one I like, as these aren't counting towards the favorite Pokemon themselves. As we get into the Zigzagoon tutorial fight, I saw something quite different with my Torchic that's not quite actually a Torchic. It's a Muck, and the Muck's name is Muck On. The cheeky fuck Nix has added in a classic Pokemon meme, and the meme that's going around on my Twitch chat as well. I got a python mucker e-cat. You should be bending back with witchy sucking. Don't pay attention to the moveset he's put in too. We're definitely a PG community. Right, so after those shenanigans, we head on over to the PC to check out all 39 people's submissions. Straight away, I see a Gengar, and I keep looking for some outstanding Pokemon, so to my surprise here, there's actually some really good Pokemon with some great typing coverage all around. Now here's the kicker though. I can't just choose whatever Pokemon I want here. I added the element of, yep, you guys guessed it, the random number generation for each team that we're going to generate for all 6 Pokemon at once, and with also doing the hardcore Nuzlocke rules, so it's not easy as it looks, right? With the first selection coming up here, I randomly number generate between 1 and 39, and the first numbers that pop up are 36, 21, 23, 14, 20, and 33. Those selections were a Hypno, Gardevoir, Grovyle with an Everstone, Magikarp with an Everstone as well, Mawile from the game generator himself, and a Ditto. Yeah, what an absolute fantastic start to the team. I'm so happy and elated. Yeah, thanks Everstone, guys. Right, so we press forward north and we encounter our first rival fight with Brendan. I bring our boss as he's probably the most viable at this stage, and I confuse my way to victory. Travel back to Old Our Town and go back to the lab in Little Root to talk to Professor Birch so we can properly start off our Pokemon journey. Head all the way back to Old Our Town and head west through Route 102 and keep heading left until you hit Petalburg City. It's time to say hello to Dad, and we get introduced to up-and-coming Pokemon trainer, Wally. After the tutorial, head over west and we get interrupted, and we'll get constantly interrupted by this weird guy called Scott. Blah-de-blah-de-blah blah blah. Yep, thanks Scott.
Thanks, Will.
We're at Route 104 now, and head towards north for Petalburg Woods. One of the early tests is here now with a Team Aqua Grunt, so here's how I handled him. I bring in Triss and basically absorb him to death. Not gonna lie, it was a little bit scary because it felt like he was gonna set up with Howl. Heading out of the woods, make sure to grab Bullet Seed off this guy because we're going to be using it as our prerogative for the first gym. I taught this on my Grovyle, and now we can pretty much tackle this head on straight away. So basically we're going to look for the sweep with Triss as we use Bullet Seed to smash through both of Roxanne's Geodudes. Out comes the Nose Pass, and we continue on with the Bullet Seed Barrage. We only get 2 hits at the start before she starts to use Harden. The following turn, of course, we could have finished it off, but we get just shy of killing it. With only a sliver of HP to go, I get hit by a Rock Tomb and her berry procs. The following turn, Roxanne uses a potion, and now we're pretty much back to square one. We get a 3 proc on the Bullet Seed, and she uses, yet again, another potion. Okay, so now we hit the Bullet Seed again, and we get the 2 hit this time. I'm contemplating here if instead of going for the hits for sheer power, I should have set up Leech Seed at the start, so that's what I pivot to doing now. I missed the first time, and we get hit with another Rock Tomb. I hit the Leech Seed second time now, and the berry procs on my side, and she hits me with another Rock Tomb. As the seed goes off, I swap over to Nyx, and we use Bite 2 more times to secure the win. The first badge is mine. Before heading out to Route 116, don't forget to grab Cut from Rustboro and head towards the cave east. We learn that a Team Aqua Grunt has bird-napped a Wingull, and we defeat him to make him return it immediately, along with the Devon goods that he stole. Yeah, of course. We also learned that the bird belongs to Mike Ermintrout here, and that he's the captain of the ship who can take us far, far away on the seas. Head back over to Rustboro and we'll be approached by the worker who congratulates us on making light work of the Poochyena. We meet Mr. Stone and he wants us to deliver a letter along with giving us a Pokénav so now people can call me on the cell phone. Maybe late night when they need my love? No? Anyway, I would love to take on the rival again here. It's an optional fight, but just for the challenge, I decide to make them mandatory. Brendan brings out his Slugma, and I open with Renee, as I think her insane special attack here can slice through anything. And that's basically what she does. So I use a confusion for the Slugma, and she brings out the Mudkip. It actually takes 2 hits here, but he goes down also. Pretty simples. Right, so we're going to make our way over to Dewford Town, which is across the 7 seas, and we're going to find the Sorry, wrong universe. Head all the way south back through Petalburg Woods, then to the old man's house that we passed earlier on to have a chat and help us go across the 7 seas. Well, the boat ride is quite nice, despite stopping for a phone call midway, but we eventually hit Dewford Town. Let's head north to the cave and we'll find Stephen hanging around here. This is who we're going to be delivering the letter to, so hand it over to him and he'll thank us with a Steelwing TM. Pretty neat. He'll run out and we've completed our quest now. Let's continue with the story and nab our second badge, shall we? Alright, so just to clear up some of the rules, since it's a hardcore Nuzlocke run, my Pokemon must be able to battle in order for them to be withdrawn from the run. So in turn, that means I have to sacrifice them at some point in a battle, and I choose to send the lambs to the slaughter here with the Magikarp and the Ditto. So then afterwards, my Gardevoir can grow stronger and avenge them. So see guys, I'm not a bad guy. It's not all in vain. Anyway, so we chew through the Marchop, the Meditite comes out and he's a little bit annoying with his light screen and Brawly forcing the heal here. With nothing too detrimental to the fight too, he eventually goes down and lastly out comes the Makuhita. An easy one shot for Renee again, we secure our second badge. So now before we can progress, we have to random number generate 2 more Pokemon for my team. We roll the numbers 32 and 21, which means Jazzy the Ninetales and Amelia the Tentacruel come in. It's quite fortunate we actually get them now because the next gym leaders pretty difficult if not planned properly. After catching these 2 up to speed, we head over to Slateport City through the beach and we have to visit the docks to find Captain Stern. Head over to the museum and pay, what, 50 bucks? What the hell? Absolute daylight robbery. Guys, that's so sad. 5 gifted subs on Twitch. So we learn that Team Aqua are holding this guy ransom, so let's go belt them up. I use Triss here for the consecutive battle, and the nerd will thank us afterwards. Annoying ass Scott comes out once again for another yap session. Yep, cool. Thanks again, man. Thanks, Scott. We're pretty free to head north now towards Route 110, and we got to prepare for the next rival fight that's coming right around the corner. Our Pokemon are around level 20 at this stage, and we just use Renee to dominate once again. His Mudkip has evolved now, so you got to pay attention for just in case if he uses Bide, and yep, that's what he does here. So following one confusion, he uses Bide, and I take the time to use my newly learned Calm Mind to set up a few turns here so I can sweep with the Marshtomp and the Slugma also. Man, this spot was pretty iconic coming up, so I mean, this brought up some nice memories. Moving right along towards Moorville City, we got to grab the coin case because, ladies and gentlemen, it's Gambit time! Yes, of course. I do sit here for hours and hours on end farming coins because that's what everyone wants to see on Twitch. Wasting a bit of time here, and we got to get the TMs that we'll be needing for Watson and for future in this run. Well, we actually got to dial it back a little bit before doing so. We have to head back over to Slateport and grab the Harbour Mail that's at the mart so we can deliver it to the lady who's going to give us the coin case. Unless you guys are already one step ahead, your memory and your skills better than mine. So all of this was to grind for a flamethrower to teach to Ninetales. Don't forget to chuck on the Cherry Berry to avoid the paralysis on the Ninetales also. My game plan here coming into this was to maneuver around the Magneton that Watson has because he's got the ability Magnet Pull. Seeing as we're playing on the set rules, Ninetales is the only Pokemon here that I feel confident to deal with the other 2 Pokemon before he switches him in. So let's open here with Jazzy. I throw out a flamethrower which leaves Voltorb on a sliver of HP, and I decide to swap over to Nyx as I'm afraid he's going to be using self-destruct. I use Bite and lo and behold, the Voltorb explodes. The Electrike is out now and I swap back over to Jazzy. It uses a Howl, and since I'm faster, I get the flamethrower off and I one-shot it. Everything's going to the original plan here, and now the Magneton is out. Flamethrower one-shots is calculated, and now we're left with the Ace Manectric. Using a flamethrower, we put Manectric just over halfway, which is ideally what I do want here. He uses Thunder Wave, in which my berry procs, as does his Citrus Berry too. Another flamethrower from Jazzy, and another Thunder Wave from Manectric. Watson chucks out a Super Potion, and I power through the Paralysis to hit another flamethrower. We actually get the burn here, which is very fortunate, and we eat up a Shockwave. Jazzy again goes through the Paralysis, and we finish it off with the last flamethrower. Watson's defeated, the third badge is ours. Let's head up north to Route 111 and keep following the path to Route 112. We're going to be approaching the fiery path here also. We make our way over to the other side of Route 112, so we now come up to Route 113, would you believe that? With the volcanic ash area. Did anyone else make shapes around here and get distracted from what we're actually supposed to be doing? Anyone? No? Me? Okay. Well, anyway, keep heading west until you hit Fall Arbor Town. The house here is going to give you dig also, so don't forget to grab it because we're going to need it. Keep going along the path of Route 114 and we'll eventually hit Meteor Falls. Team Magma and Team Aqua having a spat, we talk to Cosmo Kramer. Heading outside of the cave, we're now at Route 115. We've basically done a full square, ending back at Rustboro Town. Head back to Rust Earth Tunnel, and now that we've got Rock Smash, show the Karate Man our masculine power, and he'll give us strength. Coming outside of this, we're at Verandurf Town, and we've found our shortcut leading back to Moorville City, instead of going by boat from Petalburg. As we're back at Moorville now, head towards Fiery Path, but don't go inside the Fiery Path cave this time. Go towards the top right where the carriage is, because we're going to be heading all the way up to Mount Chimney. Where we saw the Team Magma dudes before, they're here now, so we're going to go kick their ass all the way up here. Now this is where things get a little topsy-turvy. I should have taken the Magma team leader Maxi more seriously because he's actually scary. I opened up with Renee and I should have checked the team beforehand because he has a Mighty Enter. I swap over to Nyx for the Intimidate drop and he eats the bites. His second bite flinches me here and then yet again for another flinch. It's already starting the RNG. Mighty Enter now uses Sand Attack and starts teching me. My Ancient Power misses here. Another bite goes off and another miss from me. My Oran Berry procs now and I finally get an Ancient Power hit. He bites me again and yet again. I decide to swap over to Jazzy and I cleanly hit a Flamethrower and down he goes. His Cameruptor's up next and I swap over to Triss. He sets up a Focus Energy and I swap over to Boss to predict his Ember. What I didn't expect here is more luck on Maxi's side because he burned me. I go for a Headbutt and I get the flinch off. I start using Confusion and he hits me with a Magnitude 4 critical hit. I take a risk and I swap over to Renee, where she gets not only a Magnitude 9, but yet again another critical hit. I swap Nyx in for the Intimidate and I swap in Amelia for the Ember Bait. It goes off and I bring in Triss for the Magnitude, and I'm not going to lie to you guys, I start to panic just a little bit here. That's why I'm swapping in and out a lot. But look what happened. He gets the maximum 10 on the Magnitude as well, of course. I'm running out of viable options, so I bring in Amelia for the Confuse Ray play, which luckily does go off. But I feel like Maxi is holding a 4-leaf clover now because guess what? He powers through the Confuse Ray and he hits me with a Magnitude 6 and yep, you guys guessed it, another critical hit. I decide to use Boss here and try to use Confusion to nudge him down. But Camerup snapped out of the Confusion and snaps Boss in half with another Magnitude 6. Jazzy's time to shine now and I go for the Heat Wave to kill it, but unfortunately only leaves him in the red, which means he's free to hit me with another Magnitude, yet again. I think I've got it in the bag now, and Maxi uses a Super Potion. Jazzy hits a Flamethrower, which is actually some big damage here, and I go for the Confuse Ray play once again. I hit the Heat Wave on a low roll, and he's left with a tiny bit of HP. I'm hoping the Confusion can go off again, but it doesn't. Instead, it hits me with a Magnitude 10, and this is where I crash the fuck out now. Yeah, Magnitude 10 again, just for the hell of it. Magnitude 9, Magnitude 10, Magnitude 4, 7, 10. I bring in Triss for the quick attack and Maxi has got another Super Potion in his pocket. Guys, if my crash out meter wasn't met before, it definitely has now. I go down to an Ember on the following turn on both Triss and Nyx. The current team is now finished and we wipe out. So that doesn't mean that the run is over now. It just means that we have to play the RNG game to obtain 6 new Pokemon. The new numbers we drew here were 18, 9, 28, 6, 1, and 9. 619, Rey Mysterio. So now we have a Kadabra, Ludicolo, Wobbuffet, Flygon, Gengar, and Shuckle. Actually really decent choices, especially right now for the game. I level everyone to 27, and now it's time for Maxi's rematch. So I open with Flygon, and I've chucked in Dig on him, which I use straight away. It doesn't do great damage because of the Intimidate at the start, so I pivot over to Flamethrower. He hits a Bite crit on me, and I'm already enjoying life. I predict a heal and I hit another flamethrower in which I finally get a crit of my own. About time. As he's left with 1 HP, I quick attack and down goes the doggy. He brings in his Zubat and I swap over to Ninja Bread. After taking a hurtful wing attack, I hit the Psychic to put him down 2. Here's the big boy Camerupt once again, and now my chance for redemption. I'm more prepared this time and I'm not taking him lightly. I swap over to Griffles and he uses Tackle, to which it has no effect. I'm using Nightshade now to chunk him and he does Ember to do the same. After my Nightshade, he actually uses Focus Energy. After the second heal goes off, I just use Nightshade until he's finally downed. Maxi definitely had me sweating for those 2 fights. Head down south to Jagged Pass until we're at Lava Ridge Town. Immediately we're going to go after Flannery and we're going to be utilising our Flygon with Dig. So as she starts a Numel, I dig straight away and get lucky with her using Takedown rather than Sunny Day. We one-shot him and she brings in her Slugma. Same thing where we dig and now we're met with another Camerupt. This time after I use Dig, she uses Sunny Day, so it's not looking good at all. The Dig connects and I leave him with a little bit of HP left and he gets a Tackle on me. The heal goes off and I'm going back underground. This time though, I do get the high roll and I think ideally I didn't want this to happen so I can tick down a little bit more of the Sunny Day turns. But it's okay, so now we've got to deal with the Torkoal that's in the sun. We use Dig once again and he's over halfway, which is awesome. The Body Slam goes off and we avoid any paralysis. One more Dig that's got to do the job, and yep, of course, I get another low roll and it leaves him on 1 HP. She brings out another heal and we're back to square one because he used Sunny Day once again. Dig this time doesn't do more than half, and yep, guess what? The Body Slam critical hit me. It's actually so irritating how insanely unlucky I'm getting because of all this shit that's going on. I swap out a Griffles as I predict the Body Slam and it uses Overheat instead. But her luck run out a little bit here because it missed this time, thank fuck. I go for a Thunderbolt and try to beat the battle, but unfortunately it doesn't do enough and I'm punished with an Overheat. And this time it connects, Griffles goes to the graveyard. Jh hits one more Dig to secure the win, but it's at the expense of the Gengar. So as we go outside of the gym, Brendan tells us it's time to face our daddy issues and we face him at Petalburg. Before we plan anything though, we have to pick out another number. Nick's called getting this feel and the RNG gods actually decided it was going to be this feel. What are the odds? Well, the odds are 1 to 25. So anyway, as funny as those odds were, it's time to prepare for Norman the Normandy. Ideally, I want to be using Flygon and Wobbuffet mostly, but it's going to be a tough ask nonetheless. JH comes out at the start and hits the Dig on Spinder. He hits the Facade on me and yep, another critical hit! I'm actually perplexed at how many has gone off on this run specifically, and I think I'm going to make a little compilation of them at the end. Vigoroth is up next and I swap over to Myth. His defense is super high, so I can withstand a bunch of hits from him. He starts off using feint attacks, in which I was confused on using either counter or mirror coat. Seeing as dark types are special in this game, it doesn't work with counter. I'm actually very surprised of how much mirror coat does here, and we down it in 2 shots. The hard wall of the run, Slacking, is out now. I decide long and hard before I bring out Shuckle. I try to go for the encore hit, but since it's in Truon, it doesn't work. I swap back to JH and he hits me with a Yawn. I use Dig here and I try to match the Truon, but the sleep still goes off while I'm underneath. I actually did not understand that. I swap over to Cam and eat a hit, then over to Myth during Truon. I'm hoping for a Destiny Bond kill now, and I was under the impression that it takes priority, but it doesn't. It's actually based off speed, and since that Slacking is incredibly fast, he just kills me with the Facade. I bring in Jake to try to get out of sleep, and it's my only chance here. It all goes terribly wrong here, and I end up going 5 out of 5 for sleep turns, the maximum amount. I've lost count during the Truants, as I wanted to get out of the sleep, so that's what I hyper-fixated on. I should have just kept counting and hit the Toxic. It throws me off balance, and I should have hit the Toxic to regain balance in this run, and Jake goes down. It's completely my fault. I bring in Raxador and start ticking down with Hail and Aurora Beam. We activate his berry after a few turns have gone by, and I swap over to Cam for some Facade hits. As the Slacking is in Truon, I think I can get the Psychic kill and I swap over to Ninja Bread. But of course, he's on 1 HP, he goes down to a Facade. Snow's up next and I just have to go for it with the Ice Beams. The first he actually uses counter and then he hits me with a huge Facade. The last Ice Beam should kill here, but yep, yet again, he's on 1 HP. I'm pretty much done at this point, eh? Snow goes down, and somehow, through all the bullshit and all the other Pokemon that have come in to do tick damage, Another heal goes to slacking, and then Cam actually killed it here. We're just going to start all over again to build a new team pretty much. Look, I'm going to admit when the mistakes are on my end, so I mistimed some of the circumstances here. But look, I'm looking way ahead now as my new numbers drawn here are 1, 13, 14, 19, 19 again, and 9. The team that I drew here were Typhlosion, Togepi, Vulpix, Tyranitar, Mewtwo, and Lugia. What an absolute stacked team. I should have no worries without the rest of the run now. Now, I'm going to try avoid going overboard with some of the movesets until it's the Elite Four. But I will say, in generally speaking here, I obtained all the TMs from the game corner of my Pokemon, as long as it's, quote unquote, legal and obtainable at this stage. I'll explain as I go with the other TMs available at the certain times. So I start off with William and I Psychic my way through his Spinder and his Vigoroth. We're back with a rematch with Slacking and I swap over to Tyranitar to set up Sandstorm and inevitably use Screeches here to Rock Slide him to death. As he's using Yawn, I continuously swap back and forth with Cry and William and even Shandy here. I end up back to Cry where he's stuck between using Counter or Yawn. I get around 3 Screeches off here now with some nice Sandstorm damage ticking off, and I finally pull the trigger and down him once and for all. Cop that. We're not out of the woods yet though, as Lanoon comes out, and if he hits the belly drum, it could very well be all over. You just cannot stop him. We get a bit lucky here though, as he uses Slash. I hit another Rock Slide to put him in the red. Now that Norman healed, and since that he hasn't initially used belly drum, we're pretty clear here as long as the Rock Slides hit. So they actually do, and we're just going to win the battle at this point. I secure the win here because I want a full odds flamethrower here, and the 5th badge is rightfully mine. So finally moving forward, let's obtain Surf and start moving out east of the map. Head over to Moorville and surf out east from here. We're going to see Steven here, and then he makes his way again. Going north from Route 119, we eventually end up at the Weather Institute. I pretty much just used Davis and Core here to sweep through these guys, so bin the cast form, and now we're going to prepare for the Brendan fight just before the next city. William cleans house here by using Psychic and Surf, and Brendan hands over the Fly TM. Arriving at Four Trees City, keep going east until you hit the bridge with the invisible and one of the worst Pokemon out there, Kecleon. Steven will give us the Devon Scope, and now we can go back to Four Trees City and sniff the dog out, and then continue on with our journey. Now, for Winona, you're going to be needing Pokemon who learn Ice Beam. Our current team of Lugia and Mewtwo who can learn it, so utilize those 2 legendaries as much as we can here so we can sweep. William uses Thunderbolt on the Swablu, Ice Beam on the Tropius, Thunderbolt on the Pelipper and Skarmory, and finally Ice Beam on the Altaria. It's incredibly easy now in comparison to the last Gem A. So with the 6th badge in our back pocket, we can head out east and south towards Route 120, and then we eventually hit Route 121. Lily Cove City approaches us, and we're about to verse Brendan for the very last time. I feel like they made the rival fight in this game quite underwhelming in comparison to Gen 1 and Gen 2. Let me know what you think down below. It's pretty easy here as we've got the 2 Psychic legendaries at our disposal. Davis uses Ice Beam and Fly for the first 2, then Williams surfs the Slugma and Psychics the Marchon. Pretty easy stuff. Now head back a little bit here before Lily Cove and surf south until you hit Mount Pyre. We're actually going to sidetrack a little bit to head inside of Mount Pyre to grab the Shadow Ball before heading through the west exit and climbing upwards of Mount Pyre. Defeat all the Team Aquagoons here until the end where Archie babbles on, and then we get the Magma emblem from the old couple at the end here as well. Now, remember where we took the escalator and headed south towards Lava Ridge Town? We're going to go there again, but there's a rumble in the jungle and the cave opens up for the secret Team Magma base. Ooh, spooky ghost opening it up! Now, all throughout the Magma hideout, towards the end, we're going to be versing Maxi again. Be wary of the levels here as you'll need to prepare for him, and for the next gym that's coming up too. As we witness the Groudon stomping around and bouncing in the air, we take on Maxi yet again. We open with Core to hit an absolute heater of a flamethrower, and down goes a Muddiana. I think I found out the weakness with these dogs here. Camerupt comes out and I pivot to Davis because of the earthquake. I hit the Ice Beam and it retaliates with an Amnesia. I use Fly this time and he uses a second Amnesia. The Fly connects and guess what folks? His Rock Slide crits me yet again. Critical hit Camerupt they called him in high school I bet. So now that I'm predicting the heal, I swap over to William for the Surf and now he's Gornsky. Crobat's up now and I demolish him with the Psychic. Maxi goes bye bye. So to continue on with the story, head back to Slateport to witness the giving the interview, and we follow all the commotion here as we learn Team Aqua stole the ship and they've gone to a secret location, so it's our job to go find them. Well, look, I've played these games before, and we go through the entire ship just to go find Admin Matt, and honestly, we just blitz through with Core and Flamboyant, bringing in William for the cleanup. Rightio, so now that we've done that part of the story, we can surf more east out of Lily Cove City and eventually hit Moss Deep City. We can tackle the gym leader, or should I say gym leaders, with Tate and Liza. I always thought this was pretty cool, but a tough concept with the double battle. But guys, you guessed it, we're going to be using our psychic ace duo, William and Davis. Here we go. I hit the surf with William and decide to go after the clay doll first with Ice Beam. It goes down in an instant here. Soul Rock comes in and I decide to hit the Xatu now because he calm-minded, and I didn't want it to get any larger, so I actually hit the Thunderbolt on the Psychic Bird, and then the Lunatone comes in. Now, as we preemptively Ice Beamed, it actually freezes it, which is so crazy. Like, considering all the other bullshit that happened earlier with the camera up and all the other critical hits, I just can't believe it. Finally, Lady Luck is smiling. I think it's Raps here now, so I start to surf and I target the Soul Rock. He hits back at me with a flamethrower, but it's absolutely nothing. Both berries are activated from them, and I'm pretty much free here to rain down blows on each of them. Soul Rock goes down first while Lunatone watches through the glass. It's Lunatone's time now to go into the light, and the 7th badge is mine. Outside, Team Magma are giving a hard time to Steven and his crew now, so let's go save him as well. We actually get a little bit of a delve and an insight to his Pokemon. At the moment, I use Core, William, and Davis here. Instantly, I swap over to Davis, and a scary face comes out. Metang uses Metal Claw, and the camera up is setting up for his crits. Uh-oh. Mightyena uses Swagger on me, and the Metang hits with a massive crit on him as retaliation. Of course, I get swaggered, and the camera up hits the Metang with a takedown. Mightyena follows up with one of his own, and hits himself in the process. Davis is just here looking stupid, I guess. And then I swap him out to William as the second camera up comes out now. It's the perfect time to wash away all of my problems. Metang uses Metal Claw as the Golbat comes in, then the Crobat comes in too, so I'm pretty much free to use Psychic twice on both the Crobat and the Golbat, and then we just Thunderbolt the Mightyena at 2 at the end. Afterwards, we pay a visit to Steven for him to give us dive in order to find their super secret submarine hideout location. Say that 5 times. We're going to submerge ourselves into the depths of the sea and finish them once and for all. So, we have to go under the water.
Hello, how are you? I am under the water. Please help me. Here too much raining.
Go through all the puzzles until you find Archie at the end, getting oh so close with the Kyogre. We take him on and we start off with William. I swap out to Core and we get hit with a Swagger. I immediately chuck in Flamboyant and he hits a scary face this time. Since I'm slower now, he hits me with another Swagger and the confusion does go off. I bring Core back in and he hits me with a takedown this time. I can finally hit a Flamethrower to bring him down to the red, then he uses scary face again, but it misses. He gets healed, one more Flamethrower does the trick, now the Crobat comes out. I stay in after he hits an Air Cutter on me, and then use Flamethrower which brings him down to half health, and gets the burn too. I swap William in, and Archie uses his second heal. One Psychic later, and he's done. Last out comes the Sharpedo, and he gets Thunderbolted into oblivion. See you later, Archie. Kyogre makes his sudden exit, and then there's some back and forth dialogue now, which we gotta dive down once again to find Sutopolis City. We find the two brothers fighting here in the middle of the water here now. So we gotta find Steven on the left, and he'll take us to the Cave of Origin where we find Wallace. We tell him that Uncle Ray Ray is at Sky Pillar, and we need his help to break the brothers up fighting. So that's what we do. We gotta head all the way over towards the west before Pacific Log, and hugging the top a little bit here until we find the pathway up to Sky Pillar. Uncle Ray Ray snoozing at the top here, so let's go wake him up. We gotta return all the way over to Sutopolis for the amazing cutscene. Chills. After all this, we talk to both Archie and Maxie, and then lastly to Wallace, where he gives us Waterfall, the last HM we need to press on to the Pokemon League. But before then though, of course, we need to get the leader of this gym to hand over his badge. So let's make our way all throughout the ice puzzle, ready up for Sweep City, bitch. William starts off with Thunderbolting the Love Disc and the Crawdaunt. Then Juan sends out the Whiscash. Look at my boy! How could you guys not love him? He eats a Psychic which puts him to the red and then sets up the Rain Dance. Now, this is something that you don't want, especially with his Kingdra coming up, who has a Swift Swim ability. The Hyper Potion comes out and we Psychic twice more to say goodnight to Whiscash. Celio's out now and we hit the Thunderbolt to down him. The big boy of the team is out to play now. Here's the Kingdra. And now since he's in Swift Swim, I decide to make the sacrifice here and send out Shandy. He actually uses Double Team here twice and I feel like I'm a little bit boned here for the sacrifice. The second Double Team comes out and I use Yawn. But it actually connected! Look at Shandy go! A third Double Team is out now and once the sleep connects, he wakes up using his Chesto Berry. The Kingdra is pretty much fully set up now with Double Teams at this stage and Shandy has done it once again. Hitting the Yawn on pretty much 3 stage now, I think. Evasive Miss Kingdra. That's so insane. Once he sleeps, I send in William to hit the Psychic, and it connects once. Kingdra is still in Snoozeville, but William's second Psychic doesn't hit this time round. Another snooze, another miss. Kingdra is awake now and immediately goes to sleep again. Holy moly. He must have some wicked REM cycles. William misses again, Kingdra snoozes. William misses again, Kingdra snoozes. William misses again, but Kingdra has awakened from his slumber. Hits William with an Ice Beam. Now he's finally on the attack. Another miss for William, and it's looking pretty scary now. He hits the last Double Team, and my last Psychic misses too with no more PP. It's time for the Thunderbolt spams now. The first one connects and he hits another Ice Beam. Miraculously, Thunderbolt hits for his second time, but I get the low roll. You can literally see my heart breaking here, and he's on 1 HP. Tells the tale for this so far. He uses rest, and then we're back where we started. My Thunderbolt connects here now, and it does more than half HP again. A little bit of hope here. I go for another, but it doesn't connect. He's still in Snooze Town, and finally, my Thunderbolt hits, even with the low roll chance, he's defeated. We've finally secured the 8th badge after a grueling and long matchup. Alright guys, now it's time to become Pokemon Master. Surf out east going towards the Pokemon League, and head up the waterfall to enter Evergrande City. As we approach Victory Road, we have a Wally fight coming up, so be prepared as it happens a little bit into the first area. He sends out his Altaria, in which I use William. One Ice Beam takes it out, and in comes the Delcatty. Psychic does the job here. When the Magneton comes out, use Surf. Psychic beats out the Roselia too. 2 more Surfs down for the Gardevoir when it comes out. Easy, easy stuff. Make your way towards the end of the cave, and now once again, ladies and gentlemen, we're in full preparation mode already for the Elite Four. Usually I would run through my movesets beforehand, but since this is more of a on-the-fly team, I'll just go through as much as I can without cluttering things up too much. So, as always guys, check your berries, family-friendly drugs, and potions for in between these battles, because now it's time to run through Generation 3's Elite Four. Alright, so we start off with Sydney, who specializes in Dark-type Pokemon. I actually start off with Core here because I know he can flamethrower everyone to oblivion. He does that to his Mightyena, one-shots the Absol that comes in, and then he brings out his Crawdaunt. I swap over to William and he uses Swords Dance. I dap him up with a Thunderbolt and then dap up the Shiftry with an Ice Beam too. We give the same treatment to Cacturne. The first member is already done, just like that. Phoebe is up now and she uses Ghost-type Pokemon. I start off with William, and because her first Dusclops has Protect, I swapped out Flamethrower for Calm Mind to predict this beautifully. I'm free to use Psychic now here as well, so she actually hits the first double Protect, but the next time she goes down. Banet's out now and she eats a Psychic too. Her second Banet comes out and she's got also the same demise. Second Cloppy is out and Psychic runs through it too. Sableye is the last Mon to come out, and I thought that was going to be a little tricky at first, but the Thunderbolt demolishes him. Quite an easy sweep for William. Glacier's up now with her Ice-type Pokemon. William runs through with Thunderbolt to the Celio, and then out comes the Glalie. I decide to use Psychic, which puts him in the red, and he hits an Icy Wind. I predict a heal, which does go off, and I'm free to use Calm Mind. Her second Glalie comes out now, and I use Thunderbolt this time. It's in the red also as he hits a Hail. Now, here I'm predicting another heal, but it actually doesn't go off, so I hit the Calm Mind. My prediction actually fails me really hard here, and the Glalie explodes, killing William in the process. My chances in this run have been incredibly minimized, and I have one of the duo left in my back pocket. So after making a really bad misplay here, her second Celio comes out and I bring in Davis. One Thunderbolt does 2/3 of her health and she hits a pretty nasty Blizzard. Davis has done so well to eat that beautifully here, but I'm afraid that I've almost choked the whole thing. The second Thunderbolt puts her in the ground, but her ace Pokemon Walrein is out now and I immediately recover. Walrein uses Ice Beam and I hit the Thunderbolt to activate a berry. Since I can kill here, I take the chance and I secure the win. A misplay on my behalf once again, I'm not going to deny that. It forces out the loss here on William, and now I'm up against Drake with his army of dragons. Shelgon's out first and I hit the Ice Beam to see if he uses Protect. He actually doesn't and we down him in one. We were pretty lucky in that aspect. He throws out Flygon and an Ice Beam decimates him also. Drake sends out his Salamence earlier than expected. He gets demolished too, and then as does his Altaria. Now the big problem here with Kingdra is out, and Davis has got to do it virtually all on his own. I'm very fortunate to get the crit here on Thunderbolt here, and his Surf doesn't actually do all that much to me. I decide to use Psychic here for the stab, and it kills him. We've got 5 Pokemon left in our party, and 1 champion to go. Okay. Before I entered the Elite Four here, I actually got an extra Thunderbolt to swap over Brick Break for the champion on Tyranitar. I decide to replace Ice Beam with Fly on Lugia, specifically for Ludicolo. I've got some Pecha Berries and I chuck them on a few Mon here to play around with Wallace's toxic Pokemon. There's really not much else to go through, so it's going to be an absolute tough ask, but I believe with my 5 remaining Pokemon, we can get the job done. Let's do the dance, shall we? Wallace starts off with his Wailord and I open with Cry. Sandstorm kicks off and I believe this is going to be the key in terms of tick damage. I open with Thunderbolt and Wailord uses Rain Dance. I hit the second Thunderbolt and it's all cool so far. He brings out his Gyarados, which uses Surf, which does a whopping 120 damage. 1 Thunderbolt cleans up here and now he brings out the Tentacruel. I debate here for a while to see if I need Cry for later and I gamble the Hydro Pump. Unfortunately though, it does hit and Cry goes down. Davis is up now and I hit the Thunderbolt to chunk it with some HP. Tentacruel uses Toxic and procs the berry, which I hope to save for later. Regardless though, I hit the Psychic and he's gone too. Milotic comes out and I predict that he's going to use Toxic on me as well. So I bring in Flamboyant and his berry gets activated. I use his Confuse Ray and the confusion actually goes off here. I start using Flamethrower and he's powered through just to hit me with a Surf. At this stage, I just want to utilize doing chip damage with Pokemon I can sacrifice here, then getting big hits later on. Milotic snaps out of the confusion here now and hits me with another Surf. Flamboyant is gone. I send in Core and hit the Flamethrower so I can activate a berry. It's actually using Recover now though, so this might take a little bit longer than anticipated. Another Flamethrower and he's using Toxic, which procs my berry. I hit another Flamethrower and he hits Toxic yet again. Milotic is just back past half health. The Surf and Poison damage is too much for Core here and he goes down too. We're kinda back at square one. So I've done enough damage now where the berry procs on the Milotic and I send in Davis. 1 Thunderbolt puts him to a 3rd HP and he hits a Recover. Another Thunderbolt and he starts using Toxic. Very fortunate for me this time round, he actually misses here. My only hope at this stage now is to get a crit, so here we go. Let's roll the dice. Please, please, please crit. Oh my fucking days. What an absolute turn of events. Ask and you shall receive. The Ludicolo comes out now and I use Fly. He uses Double Team and luckily it does connect still. He uses Double Team yet again and I decide to go for the sheer power with my Psychic and he goes down. There's only 1 to go now. So of course, at the very end is the goodest of all good boys, Whiscash. I start using Psychics and yet again get an absolute heater of a critical hit and we've become the champion of Hoenn. Very, very poetic that again, one of my favorites is at the end. And just think about all the times throughout this whole run that I got critical hit and lost my Pokemon, and I think that's just the universe's way of saying, hey look Joey man, really sorry about that. We'll balance it all out in the most clutch moments for this video just for you. So I ain't complaining. But look, I think overall I was a little bit fortunate to get 2 of the Psychic Legendaries who were so versatile in learning TMs. I can just carry the run on their back, especially with the early Maxi and the Norman hiccups. The added RNG factor I think made this run insurmountably harder, as I could have easily paired up with some other Pokemon that wouldn't have made the endgame, be so clear cut. But alas, I would like to thank my community on Twitch for choosing Pokemon for me to run and allow me to do this challenge for what they chose. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did like it, and if you'd like to see more challenges that are a little bit out of the norm, then please like, comment, and subscribe to this video. I stream almost daily on Twitch, where we have a dedicated day of recording these videos, so if you'd like to be a part of them, the link will be below on twitch.tv/asapjoey. The next challenges awaits us, and I'll see you guys there.